Hey guys, welcome to Crazy Days. Today it's going to be a book review. So, you know I like to do reviews off and on, and actually 3 books. So, this is a trilogy written by Jeff Motes. It's called Once Upon an Apocalypse. Book 1 is called The Journey Home. Book 2, The Search. And Book 3, Gathering Home. Now, in Book 1, it's about John and Jill. Both of them are 200 miles away from home when an EMP happens. And an EMP is when the lights go out, there's some electromagnetic pulse happens. It's all about prepping. It's not the zombie apocalypse thing now. And I want to read you a little bit about Jill in the first part of Book 1. The music stopped abruptly. The car slowed down and the gas gauge goes to empty. The RPM needles drops to 0. The speedometer indicates 0, even though the car's still moving. She's looking at everything, thinking what's going on, checking around, things like that. And then she looks down at her phone, she picks it up to call somebody, and the phone's dead. She's still kind of trying to crank it, you know, things like that. And then, looking around, realization hits. Why didn't I notice this before, she said. No cars have passed since the time my car died. She said, I looked in both directions on both sides of the interstate, and all the cars are stopped, some on the side of the road, some on the road itself. Boy, this is getting scary. She said, I remember Dad talking about something like this. He called it an electromagnetic attack, or an EMP event. She's looking around. She has her bug-out bag that her dad's given her. She has her gun. She takes it with her everywhere because her dad has taught her how to shoot. He's showed her what a bug-out bag is. She took it because she was on a business trip. She's trying to get home. She's 200 miles away from her home, and she has to walk. And this is her adventure trying to get home. It is also about John, who is her daughter Lizzie's boyfriend's dad. He's trying to get home. They were both in the same city, and they're both traveling the same roads, and they eventually meet up. This is about what happens to them on their way trying to get home 200 miles. So this book takes you with John and Jill through their adventure. Book 2, The Search, gets John and Jill home, but then it has to backtrack to talk about Will and Lizzie, which are their children. Throughout this book, Will is looking for Lizzie. He's trying to find his girlfriend. This is a 16-year-old boy that has a lot on his mind and a lot to do because he's at home when his dad's, when this happens and his dad's not home, and he has to learn to be a man. His dad's prepped him, his dad's taught him all these things. His grandfather was at home. They all knew what to do, but he decides he's going after his girlfriend. And this is one of his thoughts one night, because he kept making mistakes, and he knew he made mistakes. He said, my attempts to find Lizzie have been thwarted thus far, mostly due to my own mistakes. I can't keep making mistakes. I have got to be a man. I got to think like a man and act like a man. I can't let myself get caught between boyhood and manhood. There is no time for that. My father said one of the greatest things a man can do is understand his dependence upon God, and with that understanding comes power and freedom. And then he prays that he will find his girlfriend. And he does. But not in this book. He goes through all kinds of things trying to find her. And then when he finally gets to where she is, takes him 3 or 4 days, several days to get there. In this book, it's talking about the guy. Well, in this one, it's talking about Lizzie and where she's at and what she's going through also. And then in this book, it's talking about the people that Lizzie is staying with in this book also, and them how they get home, how John finds his son. And it starts showing you personalities. Throughout this thing, it shows you different personalities. But where Lizzie is staying, the man that was there, I want to read you what Will discovered about this man. He said, Mr. Wright and my father are both engineers. Mr. Wright was a chemical engineer, and my father was an electrical engineer. Both are intelligent and successful people. One chose to consider what he might do if an ordinary all of a sudden wasn't ordinary anymore. The other lived life to its fullest, never considering how fragile our civilization really is. Dad talked about these kinds of people, and he called them sheeple, people who live in the green pasture of the present and never consider what might happen if the grass all died. We know a lot of those kind of people. Dad did a lot of things to help make things easier when times got tough. I'm very thankful he did. Folks don't have to do everything like my dad did. They could just do a few things. In one of our discussions, Dad talked about the minimum steps folks should take to be better prepared, and they weren't difficult or expensive. Anyone could do them. It's evident to me that very few people did. In these two books, Mr. Wright goes from being an engineer, providing for his family, his wife and his daughter, to stealing, lying, conniving. He's all these things. By the end of the book, he's all about wanting something. He's trying to get it any way he can, manipulating people. And it's crazy. So you learn personalities, you learn people, you see, you know, you can't trust who you think somebody is. And that was a bunch of the things that Will did. That's where he made his mistakes, is trusting people that he did not really know. And they finally get home. Just saying, I'll give you the back of the book. I'll give you the ending. That's okay, they all do get home. But it is a great trilogy. Jeff Motes did a fantastic job writing these books. And, you know, I'm going to send all three of them to somebody. Comment in the comments below and say, I would love to read Jeff Motes' book. And I will send you these three, because I know there's a lot of avid readers out there that like to learn while they're reading. And you find out a lot of prepper tips, a lot of helpful prepper tips in these books as you're reading, and you're going, oh, well, I hadn't thought of that. Wow, it's good that they did that. Or, whoa, I'm glad I see that now. I know what to look for, because you see a side of humanity that you don't see right now. And in these books, you will start to wake up to people, ideas, and thoughts, and see prepping in a whole new way. So if you like the books, comment below. Jeff Motes is in our Facebook group. So if you make a comment in the Facebook group that you would like to buy his books directly from him, he will sign them and send you a copy. And if you order off Amazon, you get them for the same price, but you don't get them signed. That's just it. So if you're in the group, tell Jeff that you saw the video and you love his books, and just give him a thumbs up or something there, and some good words. And these were sent for the gathering, and since we didn't have the gathering, I'm just now getting around to finishing them, because we've been doing so much around here. I've been reading a little along at night at the cabin, and these are almost, you can't put them down type books, guys. So you'll enjoy them. Thank you from Crazy Days, and thank you, Jeff, for sending the books.